Hello, grade 12s, matriculants, incorporating students who are reading their metric, geography teachers, and the people who are curious in learning more about geography. Okay, today we are going to be discussing a second topic, or I can say a major second topic on grade 12 geography metric, which is geomorphology. Yes, so today we're going to be discussing geomorphology. Yes, topic under geomorphology. Okay, yes. So, what is geomorphology? And guys, I know you've been doing geomorphology since grade 10. Yes, so you've been doing geomorphology since grade 10, like for real, like for serious, yeah. So, what is geomorphology? Maybe you're asking yourself. Yes, what is geomorphology? And the understanding of geomorphology, like its definition, I think is going to help you a lot. It's going to create a better understanding and deeper um, understanding through our subtopics such as drainage system in South Africa and so on. So a geomorphology is the study of the physical features of the surface of the earth and their relation to its geological structures. So this means that in geomorphology we're going to be studying or learning more about the reliefs of the earth, the shape of the earth, how earth is shaped, what's going on under the ground. Yes, there are also processes that are occurring under the ground, yes. Not only talking about the processes that are occurring on our Earth's surface, yes. So it's really quite interesting, guys. So let's get into the topic. Okay, so geomorphology, let me first give a definition about geomorphology. Okay, geomorphology is the study of the physical features of the physical features of the physical features of the surface of the earth, of the surface of the earth, and their relation to its I'm rounding out of my pen, of its geological features. So after metric level, like in terms of going to varsity institutions, people who are interested in learning more about geography, we can say they are going to study geology, geological studies, yes. So they are learning more about this geomorphology, yes, geology and so on. There are a lot of other careers under geography, specifically on geomorphology, but the one that is most prominent, I can say, is in the studies of geomorphology, I can say, is geology, yes. So guys, let's talk about these important concepts. Okay, yes. um, so as we already gave the definition of geomorphology, which says is the study of the physical features of the surface of the earth and their relation to its geological features. Yes. So create a better understanding of geomorphology. They might ask this definition during your examinations. Right? Yes. So specifically, we are going to discuss drainage systems in South Africa, which is the subtopic. Which I can also say it's the major topic of the grade 12 level. Yeah. So drainage systems in South Africa. So today we are going to firstly discuss the important concept. Yeah. So the concepts that are very important to know in terms of the definitions and to understand and so on. Yes, you can see drainage system. So we're going to discuss concepts under drainage system just before we get into a topic, a major topic. Yes, I think we have to first create a deeper understanding for you guys. Okay. So let me first give you a definition of a drainage basin, because a drainage system is whereby you see your rivers, you see your tributaries that make up your river. This is whereby you see your sources and so on. Yes. So let me give you a definition of a drainage basin. So a drainage basin, I can say, is an area that is drained by a river and all its tributaries. Yes, so a drainage basin basically is an area, like an area that is drained by a river. Yes, it's an earth surface. It's a particular earth surface that is drained by a river and its tributaries. So I think that created sense in your mind, guys. So a drainage basin. So I think yes. So these are the important concepts that you are going to be discussing. The first one is drainage basin. Is drainage basin. The first one is drainage basin. So what is drainage basin? They are going to ask this definition during your examinations. It's important to know all of these definitions that I'm going to give you guys, the important concept that I'm going to ask you during your exams, maybe in the match column in the form of a table. Yes. So it is an area. Drainage basin is an area drained by a river, and I can say, okay, and all its tributaries. That is a drainage basin. Is an area. So a drainage basin consists of all of these river features. Your tributaries, your source is under drainage basin, your confluence and others. Your river mouth, your groundwater, your surface runoff, your watershed, is all of them are under drainage basin. You can find them in a drainage basin. Yes. So under drainage basin, first of all, we have a source of a river. So we can say a river source a river source. I will stop writing capital letters now. So a river source, guys, I'm going to put a picture of a drainage basin related to this definition that I'm giving you, so that you can practically see them on a sketch, yes, or yes, so that you can create a better understanding. Yes. So a river source is the furthest point from which water could possibly flow, is the beginning of a river, in other words. So a river source is the furthest point from which water could possibly flow. That's a source of a river, or a river source. Yes. You can say it's a beginning, brackets, this is the beginning, beginning, is it the right spelling? Okay, beginning of a river. This is the beginning of a river. It's the beginning of a river. Yes. So a river source, this is whereby it's a point whereby a river starts from. Yeah, as you can see in our diagram, where the river source is, it's in a highlying area. It can possibly in landforms such as mountains, high-lying reliefs, and high-lying landforms. Yes, your ridge, your hills, and your mountains. Yes, whereby water can flow down and create or start a river flow or a drainage basin. Yes, so that's a source of a river. Yes, that's a source of a river. Yes, you can find them in highlying areas and so on, mostly. So we have a tributary. Second one or third one, okay, have a tributary. We have a tributary. So a tributary is a stream, or I can say is a river that flows into a main river. So let's say we have, as you can see in the diagram, the tributary flows into the mainstream, or the tributaries, they flow into the mainstream. So a tributary is a river or a stream that flows into a main stream or to a parent river. Yes. So tributaries are small rivers that flows into a main river. So a main river, it's a huge one. Yes. So a tributary, as you can see in the diagram, you can say is a river or a stream. A stream that flows into a main river, or a parent river. Yes. So a tributary, we have a tributary. A tributary is a river or a stream that flows into a main river or a parent river. You can see those tributaries in the diagram are flowing into a main river or main channel. You can see the main channel, right? Yes, that's a main river. Okay, the fourth one important concept is a confluence. As you can see, a confluence is where two or more bodies of water meet together, usually refers to the joining of the tributaries. You can see a confluence, I can say it's a point whereby a flow of water from a tributary meets the flow of water into a main river. So this is whereby the two different water bodies from a tributary and a river flow. So this is a point whereby they meet, these two different water bodies from a main river and from a tributary. So a confluence is a point where two or more bodies of water meet together, usually refers to the joining of a tributary. Yes, it's like a joining of a tributary. Confluence. The third one, we have confluence. So we have confluence. So a confluence is a point where two or more bodies of water meet together. Yes, so yes, is a point where two or more bodies of water meet together. I can say this usually refers to the meeting of tributaries into a main river channel. This is usually refers to the joining of tributaries in main river channel. Yes. So a confluence is a point where two or more bodies of water meet together, usually refers to the joining of tributaries in the main river channel. Okay, as you can see again in the diagram where the confluence is. You see the confluence? It's right on the path of a tributary, or in the point on the very, very last point of the tributary, down there, just on the last point of a tributary. Yes. So yes, that's a confluence. We also have a river mouth. As you can see, mouth of a river. Okay, let's talk about a river mouth. A river mouth. A river mouth. I'm not going to rush with you guys. I'm just going to make all things clear. Right? Yes. So a river mouth, you can see a river mouth. River mouth is a river, a river mouth is a part of a river where it flows into the sea. You know, a lake, or it can also flow to a river, like a river in a different drainage basin, into the other river from a different drainage basin. So that river can also have a mouth when it enters a river from or to the different drainage basin. Yes. So a river mouth is a part of a river where it flows into the sea, river, lake, reservoir, or an ocean. But there we can see that it's an ocean from our diagram. So a river mouth is a part of the river where it flows. River where it flows, into, you can say here, into the sea, the part of the river where it flows into the sea, or meets the sea, the part of the river where it flows into the sea, where it meets, I can say where it meets or flows into the sea. Yes. Into the sea. It can also be other river. It can also be a lake. A reservoir, and ocean. But the most common one is an ocean. Yes, a river mouth, the most common one is an ocean, guys. Yes, so a river mouth is a part of a river where it meets or flows into the sea, river, lake, reservoir, and ocean. Yes. As you can see in the diagram, where the river mouth is, you can see, yes, it's just right next to, or in the point where it meets the ocean. Yes, that's a river mouth. But it can also be a river, like other river meets the other river. Yes, from even here in South Africa, there are other rivers that are big, which are local, where they meet some big rivers such as Great Fish River, the Kai River, the Orange River. Yes, the other rivers that pause into those rivers. Yes, so when those rivers, small rivers, which are said to be local rivers, meets the likes of those rivers that I have mentioned, the point where they meet those rivers, those are a mouth. Yes, mouth of a river. Yes. Okay, now let's talk about a watershed. Okay, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sixth one, you can say it's a watershed. These are just important concepts, guys, so that when you're going to next or going deeper into this topic, so you don't get confused. Um, we have water, a watershed. We have a watershed. Watershed. So, at my own, I can say a watershed is a highland area which can be a ridge um, that separates waters flowing into different rivers. Or I can also say watershed, it separates two different drainage basins. That's a watershed. Yes. So a watershed, um, as you can see in the diagram, a watershed. Okay, I think you can also see in the diagram that we have um, a red X. That red X represents that it can be either river basin, other drainage basin, yes, on the other X. So that watershed is going to divide those two drainage basin. Let's say, or let's assume we have the other drainage basin on the area of that red X. That means the watershed is going to divide those two drainage basins. So a watershed is an area or ridge of land that separates waters flowing into different rivers, basins, or seas. Yes, that's a watershed. Watershed is an area or ridge of land, which a ridge is a highland area of land that can also be a mountain, yes, that separates waters flowing into different rivers. Waters flowing into different rivers. You can see, as you can see also in the diagram, that those tributaries are flowing. You can see there are a lot of tributaries flowing into a single river, but other tributaries on the area marked X, red X, are going to flow into their own different specific river. So that's a watershed is going to divide them. Okay, watershed as an area, river, drainage basin, or sea. But the most important one is drainage basin or ocean. So that is a watershed. So watershed is an area or ridge of land that separates waters into different rivers, a drainage basin, or an ocean. Okay, yes. So that's a watershed. We also have, interfluve. Guys, during your exam, you like to confuse interfluve with watershed. I don't know why. Interfluve, yes, is a highland area again, or I can say is a narrow ridge-like landform between two valleys. Yes, it's between two valleys. That means, okay, let's look into our tributaries again, into our diagram again. Yes, so in our diagram we have tributaries. You can see the arrows pointing to the tributaries in our diagram. Okay, between those arrows we have, that means this area between those tributaries, it's a highland area which is said to be interfluve. So interfluve is an highland area inside a drainage basin. That means between two tributaries in a drainage basin. So you can always find an interfluve in between two tributaries. Yes, so it's the one that divides two tributaries. Yes, so a difference between watershed and interfluve is that an interfluve, okay, interfluve. Oh, my pen is running out, guys. Interfluve. So an interfluve is a narrow ridge-like, landform between two valleys. Landform between valleys. So a valley. Yes, a valley. As much as a valley, it's a low-lying area from upper slope. Yes. So this is where tributaries flow in a valley, and therefore this interfluve is going to be between two valleys. That means between two tributaries, as I already explained. So that is an interfluve. So that's the difference between an interfluve and a watershed. A watershed is the one that divides two different drainage basins, but an interfluve is inside a drainage basin between two tributaries. Yes, it's a highlying area. Yes, they are both highlying areas, but an interfluve between two valleys and a watershed between two different drainage basins. I think I've nailed that one, guys. Don't make a mistake during the exam, and so don't confuse those two. Okay. And again, I'm going to introduce a new diagram for you guys. The one, because we don't have those definitions in this one we have. Okay, so let me remove this one and introduce a new diagram so that we can discuss a water table, a groundwater, and surface runoff. These terms are easy, guys. Okay, so let's start with water table. Looking at the diagram, let's start with water table. So water table, that's a water table. Yes, water table is the level below the ground is the level below the ground. So that's a water table. Level below the ground is saturated with water. The level below the ground that is saturated with water. Saturated with water. That's a water table. Is a level below the ground that is saturated with water. As you can see in the diagram, it's just a level below the ground that is saturated with water. So now let's talk about groundwater. A groundwater is below the water table, is under the water table. So water table, it's a, I can say, it's a highlighting point of a groundwater, I can say. Yes, it's a highlighting area, or it's the top layer of a groundwater. That's a water table. So a groundwater is water held underground in the soil or in the pores and crevices in rocks, right? Yes. So let's give a definition of groundwater. And also, guys, during your exam, they are going to give you a table like that one. Groundwater. Yeah, my pen is running out, guys. Groundwater. Groundwater. So, groundwater is, or I can say, water is water. Water held underground. Held underground. Water held underground in the soil. Water held underground in the soil. In the soil or under there, or just under the earth surface. So basically, under the earth surface. So basically, groundwater is water held underground in the soil or just under the earth surface. So in terms of facing the reality, there is also water underground. There is water stored underground. How does that water end up being there? Maybe asking that question. So during rainfall, as you can see, precipitation occurs during rainfall. The other water particles or water runs through the surface, but other goes or undergo the process of infiltration. Infiltration is this whereby the water over the earth's surface enters the earth's surface through the porous rocks, the rocks that are said to be permeable, the rocks that have tracks, and that end up being causing groundwater. So that's how groundwater end up being underground. Yes, so that is groundwater, as you can see in the diagram. So groundwater flows into the ocean. Yes. So now we have the last important concept, which is surface runoff. But water table, groundwater, and water table, they are all. We're going to discuss more about them on their specific topic under this drainage system in South Africa. So it's important to know their definition and their meaning. For this time, surface runoff. We have surface. We have surface. 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 Surface run. Surface runoff. We have surface runoff. Surface runoff is water from the rain. You can see the precipitation from the diagram is water from the rain. Snow melt can be also a result of a snow melt, and other sources that flows over the land surfaces. So basically, a surface runoff is water that runs over a surface or its surface. That is caused by a precipitation or resulted by a form of a precipitation, a rain, snow melt, and other sources that can cause water to run through the surface. That's a surface runoff. And then areas where they experience more surface runoff, this is whereby the underlying rock is not porous. Yes. So that results in much more surface runoff, which can lead into some kind of flooding in the rivers and so on, because there's much water that run to the river. So that's a surface runoff. Surface runoff is water from. So surface runoff, water from the precipitation is a synonym of a rain, guys, but in geography we use precipitation, don't say rain. Precipitation or rain, I can say. Or rain. Or rain. Snow melt. Snow melt. When the snow melts, it results into water leading to more surface runoff. Snow melt and other sources that flow over the land or its surface. So that is surface runoff. Surface runoff is water from the rain or precipitation, snow melt, and other sources that flows over the land surface. Yes, that's a surface runoff, as you can see in the diagram. Surface runoff, water that flows over the surface. Okay, guys. Thanks for watching the video. I think it's going to benefit you a lot, hopefully. And make it sure that you master these definitions, you understand them. They are easy, guys, so that you can understand the drainage system concept better. Yes. So by understanding these concepts, you're going to master the drainage system context. It's not going to be complex for you. It's going to be easy. Yes. So make it sure you read them and so on. And guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and comment. Thank you. See you till the next lesson. Bye.